Turd Ferguson. The incident with Serena Williams and many others before and since highlight a rather galling issue in discourse/human interaction that's currently going on. The deeming of any opponent, ideological or otherwise, as hateful or discriminatory. With Williams, if she's asserting that the male umpire of her match was being misogynistic, then would such a man choose one woman over the other, given that he should hate them both? Moreover, given that her opponent, Naomi Osaka, has practically the same skin color, if she's asserting he was being racist in his decisions, again, why would he choose one of these women over the other, given that he should hate them both? Her accusations, along with her behavior in that match, were illogical and petulant, that of a spoiled child instead of the athletic role model she normally is. The terms racist, sexist, fill-in-the-blank phobe are thrown around so flippantly and so frequently that they have lost the significance they were supposed to retain, making it increasingly difficult to distinguish between those truly worthy of the labels and those who have a disagreement gone awry. My question for you is, why is this acceptable to so many? Why is this behavior placated and often encouraged by our media, who are not admonishing her for this unsportsmanlike display, but patting her on the back? This is the behavior of children on the playground, not something we should be seeing in grown adults dealing with conflict. The short answer to your question is tribalism. It's built into us. It's instinctive. We have no choice. We take sides. We are compelled in almost any conflict that we observe to take a side. If I randomly turn on a football game, the color of the helmets or uniforms might be the deciding factor for me in a game between two teams I don't know anything about, maybe even in a sport I don't know anything about. Something, for me, will put one team higher than the other. Automatically, I don't have to think about this. I don't have to put any conscious attention on it at all. It'll just happen. This is how we think. This is how we relate with the world. We are built to be in tribes. So it's perfectly natural for us to take sides in conflicts. It's not necessarily the best thing we could do, but it is what we do. So you find people lining up dutifully on social media over any one of these kind of conflicts. Now, I can't speak to, it's been quite a while since this even happened, and I'm finally taking this question up, but I can't really speak to Serena Williams' state of mind at the time that this whole thing was going on and she was having that temper tantrum on the court. I agree with you that her behavior was inappropriate and ridiculous, and there could be any number of biological, psychological reasons for that. Any number of them, and it would be completely insane for me to even wonder aloud what those reasons might be. Regardless of the reason for her throwing her hissy fit, she did. And she then used labels that are very popular right now, especially on the left. Identity politics type labels that are used to reinforce this tribalism. Those labels now have morphed into something different than what they originally meant. And I don't mean the word racism or misogyny has changed its definition, although they are redefining these terms to more closely fit this new mindset that has developed on the left having to do with this tribalism. And so they have restructured the way they view society itself. And they talk about things like gender being a social construct. This is based on very, very bad social science. And I kind of know where it comes from. I can break it all down. I haven't done that podcast yet. But it's bad. It's bad social science. It's not good. And so these labels, let me get back to this point about the labels, racism, misogyny, this kind of thing, these have become calls for reinforcement, for backup, for help, right? If I am on social media and I'm an extreme leftist and I start calling you a racist or a bigot or a misogynist or something, that's my effort to get my friends to come in and gang on you and bring you down, right? Through mob mentality, through mob activity. And you know, that's just kind of natural. To say that the left is the only people who do that would be very grossly mistaken. That would be a big, huge mistake. This is just one kind of manifestation of the extreme tribalism that I'm talking about here. So, you know, I can come up with some more examples for folks on the right, but you know, we're talking about this thing here, so I'll just keep my criticism to the left this time. So, the urge to have allies, to get in groups, to engage in this mob thinking, is a very natural urge, and it's a very strong one. I mean, if you feel like you're personally attacked, or somebody's coming after you for whatever reason, I mean, you just feel threatened. And these days, people feel threatened by words on social media, which is a little ridiculous, but they do. If you feel that way, then your whole fight or flight system goes into play. And that is a system that you have almost no control over whatsoever. And once it goes into play and you are now acting as though you are, you know, fight or flight, threat, you know, move or whatever, then all the machinery goes into play and the attacks come out. And these now are going to be manifested again through social media with words rather than picking up your spear and chucking it at the guy. But it's going to be the same mechanisms are in place and the same desire for, you know, take the enemy down, destroy them utterly, right? Sound familiar? Well, that's the kind of thinking that goes on when you're in fight or flight mode, because you feel like it's kill or be killed, right? That's where extremism lives, is in that way of thinking all the time. You know, when we talk about these spectrums of left and right and the extremism on both ends, that's what the physical, biological manifestation of that extremism is. And the people in the middle don't get that about it, right? Which is why they can be a bit more chill and, frankly, a bit more rational and objective. And that is the silent majority of most people, because most people are not at these extreme ends, right? But we hear more and more about this. And let me get to the other part of your question, which is, why does the media seem to reinforce this? Because the media's job is to make money. And they make money through clicks and retweets and shares and likes. That's how advertisers pay them, is by those statistics, those metrics. So if they're not getting clicks and likes and shares and retweets, then they're out of business. So that has unfortunately become the priority of our news media now. Didn't used to be that way, back when we had some laws and regulations and standards in place, and back before we had a 24-hour news cycle that everybody was frantically keeping up with all the time because, oh my God, I can't be out of the loop. Well, I can tell you, I got myself out of the loop. It's a good place to be. You know, you can keep up on what's going on without getting into that crazy, extreme viewpoint. It's a sign of our times that too many people, especially young people, are just, you know, glomming onto this way of interacting, and I don't know where that's going to go. But hopefully somebody realizes, you know, that social media is not everything it's cracked up to be. And maybe, just maybe, we might have a problem with this stuff and what it's doing to us. All right, that all being said, the news media have their priority on making money and on getting the clicks and the likes and all that. So they're going to feed the extremists because that's salacious content. If it bleeds, it leads. That is still true. People are interested in things that are threatening to them. They are not interested in things that are boring to them, that are routine and repetitive and normal. They want the abnormal. They want the unusual. They want the weird, the strange, the extreme. That is what captures people's attention. Why does it capture their attention? Because we're built to put attention on things that we think are threats to us. I mean, this is all just same as I've been saying all along, right? These are the building blocks of how we act. So if it's a threat, doing, our attention goes to it, right? And if we're in an environment like we are now, where we're hit every day with threat after threat after threat to our existence, we lose prioritization, we lose importances, we lose, priorities. Climate change, for example. I mean, there's a gigantic existential threat to our very existence as a species, and we treat it as though it's just another problem in the news, right? So, in a way, you get this exaggeration of things that are not that important, and then you get a dumbing down of things that are important. That is also a byproduct of what the constant 24-hour news cycle has given us. So, there's a lot of factors here. There's a lot of things contributing to this. I haven't even gotten into the sociological aspects. I'm just talking psychology and biology right now. And then, news critique, news media critique. So those are some of the factors off the top of my head that I could talk about here that contribute to a lot of this and make this what it is. It's us acting the way we're built to act. It's just that with social media and with the 24-hour news cycle, we've been sort of our fight or flight response systems and everything connected with that has kind of gone into overdrive. And that's why all this stress and freaking out and oh my God, and the mental exhaustion and even indications of a kind of PTSD can happen as a result of some of this stuff. That's why it's happening. So I don't know. Those are my ideas. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments, but there you go.